Evangelist Franklin Graham spoke this Easter weekend to Venezuelan refugees in the border city of Cúcuta, Colombia, and joins us now with more. Reverend Graham, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
I understand that you joined with hundreds of churches in Cúcuta to welcome refugees from Venezuela to services this weekend in the city's soccer stadium. Tell us about who came and what happened.
Well, first of all, let me back up. I was down there back in October visiting these refugees coming out of Venezuela into Colombia. They come over 1,000, sometimes 2,000 or 3,000 people per day. And they're not allowed to bring their vehicles. They just walk. And they bring their suitcase, pull it behind them, and they walk from there all the way to Bogota. Some spend weeks on the road pulling their suitcase behind them. They're just fleeing. And at that time, I just felt in my heart, we need to do something for these refugees coming here into Colombia. We set up an aid station right there at the border where we give medical attention to people that are coming across the border. And then as they go over the mountains, we have little Samaritan inns kind of places where a person can stop. We have food for them. We have, again, health care. We are able to give them antibiotics, those kinds of things if they need it. We care for the children. Give them clothing. It gets cold up in the mountains.
Great needs. I do want to ask you in particular about the services this weekend, because we know that, we're not hearing a lot spiritually about what is going on. So what are you seeing in terms of the spiritual needs of the people, and what happened at the services?
Well, when we started this back in October, I just felt in my heart God wanted us to come and hold like a crusade in the city. And so we talked to the churches. I want to do this in January. They said, no, let's do it at Easter weekend. I said, okay, we'll do it Easter weekend. And it was more than I ever expected. We had about 116,000 people come to our 3 meetings. We had around 7,000 or so make decisions for Jesus Christ. The hunger was incredible. The entire city was behind what we're doing. The mayor's office, the police, the military, everybody was behind this festival we did this past week. And it was just something God did. So we give Him the glory. The physical needs, I think, of the people, God sometimes uses that to open up the hearts spiritually. And that's what I was trying to say with all the people coming across into Colombia, suffering as they come into the country. It just opens up a door to preach the gospel. We started off by praying for the president of Venezuela, that God would open up his eyes and open up his heart, that he would change some of these policies. We prayed for the president of Colombia as well. But there is no question a great spiritual need among the people, not only of Colombia, because he just came out of a civil war too. We have to remember they've had a terrible civil war, and that has just ended. And so the people are just still reeling from that. And now we see what's happening in Venezuela next door.
Yeah, well, I am really heartened to hear the spiritual report. Yeah, that is wonderful to hear. And I also just want to ask you politically, we know that the Russian military is involved in Venezuela, supporting that government there, and there's been talk of outside military intervention that may be needed from the U.S. to take out the country's dictator. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, the Russians are there in a very small way. I don't think that's really an issue. It's really the Cubans. The Cubans have taken control of the country, and they have taken control of this government. They've taken control of the military. I've been told that all the advisors, the top leadership of the Venezuelan military are Cubans now. So it's almost like Cuba has annexed the country. And this is so sad. Cuba is a basket case. And now Venezuela, which had the largest middle-class economy in all of Latin America, the largest oil reserves in the world is in Venezuela, and to see this country now reduced to poverty is just, it breaks your heart, especially when you see somebody pulling a suitcase for weeks just to leave. And I saw women and children pulling their little suitcases hundreds of miles from Cúcuta up in the mountains. It breaks your heart.
We've got to wrap, but I do want to ask you, would you support the U.S. if the government decided to get militarily involved?
Well, I don't think that's a place for me to give a comment, because Samaritan's Purse is going to help the people of Venezuela regardless of who they are. We're going to help all of them. And I hope that there is a political solution soon without any military conflict. That would be my hope and my prayer.
Well, I know we are all thinking and praying for the people of that country and appreciate what you're doing. Reverend Graham, thanks for your time.